Alright, I need to do a couple things. I realized that I'm going live. You're just gonna have to kind of just wait for a little bit for me to do my setup on the stream, because every time you activate the stream, you have to check a few things and go through a few things. So I'm just gonna start talking because I know that when I make my videos on demand, there's an annoying beginning of the video where nothing is going on and there's no talking, which is not a great start. So this is the only thing I could think of to do right now. I should be seeing the live thing happening, and it just did. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that. It's a process. Then I click on the thing, and then I pause the thing, and then I have a video chat. Hello world. Okay, I put something on the chat. And then I'm also going to have, I'm simul streaming to YouTube. So I need to make sure that that's correct. And I know it's not going to be correct because it never is. YouTube is YouTube's live thing is not super. It's not. But today we're talking about I saw this clip and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I can talk." Okay, of course. It's on the old title. Let me go ahead and edit that. And the title is, "Will AI Replace Programmers?" And it's a specific group of people. Will AI programmers? Save on that. I don't know if that's going to turn out right, but I'm going to jump right into it. So the first thing I'm going to start by doing is I'm going to go ahead and play this video now. At least part of the video. Here we go. Okay. Next up, I got a question on AI. Emotion. I'll condense it as follows. Well, Lex, I'm a programmer. I have 8 years looking into development because I worry that AI is let me first say that I was scared to have a thing for physical meaning 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 programming in the past and not for podcast probably at least in part in my okay, I'm just gonna pause the video there. So I didn't introduce, obviously, this video is Lex Friedman, and he's answering a question, and I had things to say on the subject because, and so the question was, will AI replace programmers? And of course, we already say, hey, we get it, that we're people and we're worried about jobs being lost. So that's the immediate reaction that you have. What I would say is that um, I'm going to start by saying humans are important and we're going to have programming jobs for a long time. They're not going away, even if you do eventually see a reduction, which we haven't even proven that that's the case. It's not the current state of AI and programming is such that at this time, it's my belief that there are no AI jobs. There are no jobs that AI are going to be taking with programming. Anybody who's not a programmer and sees AI generate a large amount of code might slip into thinking that that's it. AI can program now and there will be no more AI jobs. But that really is not the case. Anyone who's used the AI tools will speak like Lex here speaks. He's going to go further into it, and we're going to go further into the video. But I wanted to take a break and start talking about it. The current state of things. how good are programmers, and how good are the AI programmers, and Lex talks about Claude. He's going to be talking about Claude, which I use Claude, and Claude is generally looked at as, let's see, yeah, just leave something on there. Claude is generally looked at as the best AI model that does programming. Claude is not specifically designed, Claude is not specifically trained and not specifically prompted to be the best programmer. But the reason why we go to the main frontier flagship models like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Claude, and then we have Llama, of which the largest is 405B, 3.1 Llama, to be clear, where we're at right now. They want an AI that's intelligent and can communicate. And it's kind of like getting an AI that's the whole package. You're not just focusing on getting an AI that's only a programmer assistant. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a little segue there and say that what we have in this world now, I'm coming from a general, even though this is going to be for programmers, you know, there's going to be people that don't know anything about programming, so they should understand some basic things. We have tools like the GitHub Copilot. GitHub has a connection to Microsoft, which is why the Copilot name is in there, which is okay. Helps you code. And apparently there's something from OpenAI, and then there's been a few notable programming AI that have been fine-tuned. So once they have an AI like ChatGPT, they'll go ahead and apply programming fine-tuning and programming prompting to make the AI perform better. One of the simple tricks, quote unquote, that people do is that they apply a prompt to the AI before you start using it. So you start with a regular AI, then you will change the system prompt to, you're an expert programmer, period. That's it. And so what that seems to do, it seems to shift the knowledge base of the AI and take the AI from being general and possibly even starting from simple ideas and kind of starting from a more advanced position, and then kind of making the AI think that it's a coder that's been doing that for a long time, and so that it can think about things the right way. It's basically a trick, but it seems to help, so we use it. Let's go ahead and listen a little bit more, and then I'll get right back to it. So let's listen a little bit more to this video. Okay, yeah, so two things. So Claude makes approximately good code. So AI will amaze you on the rare times that it makes a lot of good code that works. And it's like, wow, that's amazing, and we're great. But that's not to be confused with AI that programs will always make mistakes very quickly soon. In a matter of a few times of it programming, boom, mistakes occur. And the kind of mistakes that occur are sometimes silly. We have, you know, varying degrees of entry-level mistakes that happen. So you might have a stupid spelling, which leads to a syntax error, or forgetting to connect something by not putting. Let's say here's a simple one. In programming, you're supposed to define things before you use them. AI will typically use something and say, "Oh, I forgot to define it." It's like, how could you forget to define it when that's a foundational thing of programming? So when you're supposed to know programming, if you're smart at programming, you know the foundations, the first things that you're always supposed to do, which is to define something before you use it. So it's working on a high level, But then it forgot the simple thing. And that's why it's a little bit silly. And this is going to be a little bit of comedic relief to the fact that AI is not going to be replacing jobs anytime soon. No matter, even with the next ones that are coming out and the next after that, we have advanced AI that are coming down the pipeline. We're going to have AI that is going to perform better on programming. So they're going to benchmark better. They're going to be better assistants. And the key word there is assistants, programming assistants, not programmer. Even if you apply agentic, agent-like abilities, if you consider that, if you apply the reasoning tricks, another trick, by having the AI think about things, review what it generated, and then giving you a final answer, still not going to be great. It's going to catch errors, going to catch mistakes. It's going to be slower, take longer, more inference time, so it costs more to run. There's more processing. And one of the things that makes an AI programmer useful or valuable is the fact that it works quickly. And if you take that down many notches and pegs, then it doesn't become the solution or the perfect worker that we think about as replacing jobs. Let's go ahead and see here. I have something to say. So since I talked about current AI, and then I talked about agent AI, then we're going to go ahead and take it one step further and say the landscape has changed. All of a sudden, AI has released AGI, general intelligent, artificial intelligent, generally intelligent. Let's say we're there. I made some notes, and basically what I said was that, of course, it's coming to the public. We'll be able to access AGI, and we're going to see demonstrations of AGI, but it remains to be seen if AGI will be able to apply coding principles at a high level. It's likely that it won't. So, expanding or elaborating on that, AGI will be good at thinking and thinking about the world and thinking about things that you prompted to think about, but that's about it. I have to believe that even though we're going to be interacting with an AGI that thinks, we're going to say that's novel, that's a new thing that we always wanted, that we believe is the future, because AGI is going to get better from that point. But what I tend to think is, just like I talked about very recently, the first AGI, generally intelligent artificial intelligence, it will use a lot of thinking, and it will basically end up costing a lot of money to run on servers. It's going to use a lot of inference. It's going to be using many cycles. And what we end up thinking about is efficiency versus inefficiency. AGI sounds like you're creating scenarios where there's going to be inefficiency. We tend to think of computers as using their thinking power efficiently, but not when you make mistakes or go down the wrong road. Let's say you're thinking about a solution, and you say, I have to build a bridge. And then the AGI thinks, well, I'll just put a large piece of wood across the two ends, and then I've made a bridge. That's great. Oh, wait a minute. I'm supposed to cover 100 feet of distance. Oh, I made a mistake. It's thinking this. If you put one piece of wood that's 100 feet long, it's going to bend when somebody steps on it or when he puts something heavy, and then it's going to slip off the ends. That's not a good bridge. Wait, I can't tell them that for the answer. I have to tell them, well, we have to use a thicker piece of wood, or we have to use some reinforcement. Then at the end, the response, we have to use a reinforced or very thick wood to account for the distance of the bridge. How does that sound for your answer? And so, even then, we're coming to a future where AI doubts. It doesn't always think it has the correct answer. It approaches carefully and cautiously. So you see why I'm landing upon that for AGI. So that's my thought. You're getting all this thinking. you're coming up with something more sophisticated and you say, oh, wow, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good thing. You thought of AGI. You're pretty smart. That's why we're using you, because you're pretty good. And so it's gonna be a collaborative thing for now and a collaborative thing in the future, even with as AI get better and better. Let's go ahead and listen to a little bit more. Many ways. I think eventually, more and more, the task of professional programming will be one of writing natural language prompts. I think the right thing to do is I'm at least doing to ride the wave of the ever-improving code generating LLM and keep transforming myself into a big picture designer versus low level thinker. What I'm doing and what I recommend you do is really switch to whatever state you want to realistic generating code. Currently, I recently switched from VS Code to Cursor. So that is that. So Cursor is this editor based on VS Code. Okay, we're gonna get into the editors. But basically, what he recommends and what I recommend is that use AI to help you code, and then he's saying switch the model to the best one at the time. The evolution of the models is happening every 3 months, every 6 months. The paradigm shifts, changes, and then a new model is the good one. It's better than the others. Now, we've always glanced at the benchmarks to see what AI programs better. We've entered a new phase of nuance, which is why you will hear people sticking to the AI that they like, whether they have a subscription to it or whether they like the way that it programs, because I'm noticing trends of how the AI programs in different ways. And there's in programming is very interesting because there isn't necessarily a right way or a wrong way. There's different ways to achieve the same kind of program. And then they have, things that are just quirks or preferences, right? How many comments do you put? Do you put detailed comments, brief comments? Do you use a comment system that only makes sense to you? Typically, when you program for yourself and you're going to read your own program in the future, you don't care if somebody else knows that what the comments mean, right? And so, and there's a few things that, due to short context limitations, you can't get the AI to do what you want yet. And this is another reason why not only is AI not going to take our programming jobs, but it's not even a great assistant yet. Because most of the time, I want the AI to show me all the code. It either decides that I didn't need to see it because it thought I was better at programming than I am, or basically it decides, oh, well, I can show you all these modifications you need to make, but I don't have that much context to show you everything. So with the context window, I'm limited in how much I can generate. Simple concept. So that's a big problem for AI making programs today that we haven't even completely solved yet. You will hear that context windows have been expanded. You'll see all these numbers. Oh, you have 250K. Oh, you got 1 million context window. What good is 1 million context window if the AI gets distracted like the dog that says squirrel and turns his head, and it's like dangling shiny keys in front of it and it gets distracted and it missed something in the context? So the first thing was proving you can have a large context window. Done. Proven. Now prove that you can get the AI to pay attention and work well with the context. We have fine-tuned models that are demonstrating some of that according to some of the data that I've seen. And then we're expecting that the next good AI that comes out, either it will be addressed, it will perform better than it does now, or they will just simply make that fine-tuned programming expert AI, which is great. We can live with that. When, some kind of grimoire or some kind of experimental or some kind of custom fine-tune from the open source community becomes the programming AI to use, we're going to be cool with that. I think that it's going to be either, you get with the program and use the best one, or you might settle on using one of the public models again, just because you have the subscription or you know how it works. Because there is a bit of vetting, there's a little bit of, oh, I need to make sure the AI is good, and I don't know what I can't really predict as much what that AI will do. So let's see. We're going to get into programming assistant. We're getting into programming editor stuff. Okay, Replit, Cursor, is it? Yeah, Cursor. So we're getting into, I think he's mentioning a little bit. I have some notes on that. Let's go ahead and hear out the part about the programs, okay? Makes it super easy to continually use that. What I would advise, what I'm trying to do myself, is to learn how to use it and to master code generation. I personally try to allocate a significant amount of time designing with natural language first versus writing code from scratch. Okay, so he's getting into natural language and code, writing code, but I'm finishing my thoughts on when you look at a program that is editor for code. Okay. The currently it looks like this. You have a pane for writing your code, and then you have a AI, on the side. You're going to have like a Copilot assistant window or pane. That is to say, a section that has the AI communication. And so I think the dream of the future is that it works perfectly, that when you talk to the AI on the right, it knows what's going on the left, and it helps you program, and there's no need for you to provide it snippets or copies of the code. Currently, you have to provide snippets and copy the code and paste it because it doesn't realize what's going on. It sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. So what we have is a promising and helpful thing compared to nothing. Before we were in the desert with nothing that was that good, before you had books and knowledge where you can look up code, you had something wonderful that we can never, it's been priceless. It's been a free resource for us when we write website code. We look up the libraries. We have a reference for all the different code with all the things we can't remember, all the CSS, all the different things that you can do for, and how you do it. And then that comes down to syntax. Most programming language syntax matters, and you'll get in trouble if you don't follow the syntax. So even if you're a very good seasoned programmer that can write what the code is, you make syntax mistakes because it's a simple matter of, well, you were supposed to use a single quote versus a double quote. Well, it was supposed to be a period, not a comma, or vice versa. And it's like, wow, I mean, even the thing looks the same. A period and a comma, I mean, visually they look the same, and you sometimes will just make a little, whoops, my wires crossed. All right, so let's see here. What are we getting into now? Using my understanding of programming to edit the code that's generated by the LLM. That's right. So he said he starts by writing out in plain English, I think, natural language is what he said. What program am I doing? So just like I'm talking to you now, it'd say I need a random number generator so that I can use that to select an item on my list, because the list is different athletic activities I can do to exercise. I have 10 different things I can do, and I can't decide. So I want a program to use a random number to select 1 through 10 on my list, and then it tells me what activity I'm doing that day. Well, isn't that fun and exciting? That's a custom program just for you. So I just did all that in English. There's obviously going to be code associated to those sections. How is the list presented? Is the list in the code, or are you reading the list from a file? And then how are we generating a random number? Are we just simply using generate random from the programming. Some programming languages have that built in, or are we using the operating system, or are we using something else? You know, if we want to have a better random number. So that's something that he's saying he does, and that's the way I think about it. But I basically think about what I want to do in plain English and then start. And I don't write a lot of things down at first unless I'm making quite a complex program. Like, for example, I wrote things down when I made the FPGA visual editor, or I wrote things down when I made the what was the other thing I made? Anyway, the that I when I have a program that, oh, the 8-bit, I have a great program I'm having fun with. I made an 8-bit like a art, you know, pixel art, a program where you got the pixels on your screen, you just click to make the dots, and then you have a little preview there, which is really cool because you see it small like a sprite, and then you see it large in the middle. That's great. And then you have all your colors to easily pick from on the left. That's great. It's like Photoshop. Wonderful. Beautiful. So I'm really happy with how it came out. And those things were concepts. All those things didn't exist and didn't have function. First thing I did was I made a window by using a graphical user interface. Then I specified the colors that I want in my program according to the Nintendo palette. Then I listed those colors, and it ended up being that when I listed all the colors in single file or lined up, there was too many to show on the screen. So then the next step I took was I made it too wide so that two colors, one color was side by side with another color all the way down, and then my colors fit, and it looked a little bit nicer because we deal with a widescreen format. So that was like the programming, how it got done, how it went down. I didn't think that I was gonna have too many colors, that the box was gonna be, you know, a decent size, and then it was gonna go. So that was something that I wasn't gonna think about. But I will say, the case for the AI of the future, it can and will think about that because it just has the capabilities to actively think about the resolution. It might ask you or predict based on the most popular resolution, which you would just simply say is 1920 by 1080, or you could even say 1440. And then in the most extreme case of the future, we're dealing with a 4K resolution. We don't expect to go beyond 4K because we're getting diminishing returns. Our screens are big enough. We have enough pixel density. So that's kind of where we're looking at that. All right. So let's see what else here. Finish up. Using the LLM to generate small parts. I see this skill that I should develop in parallel. I think this applies to many other careers too. You can keep AI to your job and to use the AI to do so we're obviously talking about advanced because he's learning to program and he's learning to use the AI for programming, that may not be recommended because when you're a beginner at programming, first you learn the foundations and how to program without AI. Then you use AI, reinforce everything you've learned, and never forget where you came from. Yeah, so like and subscribe. Lex Friedman is a great guy, great content. And so, what was that last thing he just mentioned? Oh, right, about fear of being replaced. That's it. That's it. So fear of being replaced. That's where it all comes from every time. Everything. Because it's such a strong emotion for us and it grabs us and then it elicits a response out of us. So that's why we have the public discussion. That's why we have the question that originated this whole thing. Will AI replace programmers? The answer is no. Let's address the question. Let's finish this off. AI is not going to be that good. let's say it makes a bunch of mistakes right now. And in the future, we're going to say that it's going to make far less mistakes. But guess what? It's still going to make mistakes. AI currently gets stuck in loops where it tries to fix things applying the same tactics or methods that it already did. So it's a death loop because you're never getting out of that. If you go around and around and around, the likelihood is you're still going to keep going around and around and around. And this is a flaw. And this is a lack of context. Because if you went around and around and you go, oh, I seem to get stuck. I seem to be in a loop. You know, I have a million contexts of characters for text. So I see that I already tried this twice even. Am I crazy? You know what? It's crazy to do the same thing again and expect a different result when it comes to programming. So context window will help programming. So we need it. That's why programmers like it. We're smiling about it. We just want a good context window that the AI will actually do well with, pay attention to, be able to actionably make decisions on. But that's the thing that we can have right now. In the future, we're going to have wonderfully intelligent AI that doesn't necessarily need to it's like wisdom's better than making the mistake and then learning off your own mistake. It would be better if it could. Let's say a couple of possibilities. We know that AI go on the internet and research answers. We know that when you're a smart person or a smart AI, you can make a database of things that didn't work with programming. And if everything is stored in text, you have the ability to create a Wikipedia database of problems that have already been figured out. So if we think about either one AI working on this as it happens, is going to continue to contribute to this Wikipedia-like online database that any AI or human can access, but AI are going to use it because it's going to be so technical and there's going to be subtleties. You know, it's like, well, if you just tweak it this way or tweak it that way and tweak it this way, then if a human looks at a page that has all these different possibilities about one extremely specific code trouble that it had, we're going to be like, what use is this to us? Only AI can look at these 10 and then the other page that has another 10 and then when you drill down into that, you dig down into that, there's another set of 10 things. It's like it's beyond people to use that. That's not very helpful because it's way too much information, but AI has the power to look at all that information and try everything, maybe try it out, you know, in those code sandboxes they're going to have or whatever the heck. I don't know what they're going to have in the future, but I do know that the future is bright, and I do know that the future is illuminated for humans because we're going to have jobs for programmers. We're going to be using AI. Does not have the ability to think about what to program beyond, you know, conceptually coming up with ideas. It's a mistake to think that when they can write something really good, which is what AI are best at, they can write something, right? And that's good for us to think about because we can say, I want to program about managing my exercise lists. And then it says, well, you know, it'll say something like, you know, you might want to use a random number generator to select. It's like, yeah, that's what I came up with. And that's just writing. So writing is good. That's the tool that they're good at and they're going to continue to be good at. And that can be applied to solving problems and things like that. So I hope that you found this interesting and valuable. Thank you for watching. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Make sure you follow me or subscribe to me, whichever is applicable. And I'm just going to take a look and see if I have any chat messages that I missed. And if I did, I apologize. I was really focused on the discussion. I see that I don't see anything on the live chats. So thank you very much for watching. And I'll be back with more AI and robot and all kinds of cool technology stuff. I like this stuff. I write about it. I read the news every day. That's what you got here. Signing off.